stuck here. The cops won't bother me. This is the Burtonsville Town Center. We're going to meet here for the ride on Sunday. I'm going to take you out on some of the roads we'll be taking on scooters. I am, of course, riding a motorcycle, but this is just preparation for the ride. I call this ride Preparation H. But this is going to be where the Burtonsville Cars and Coffee meets and the scooters will meet. We're going to take back roads. So the first thing we're going to do out of Burtonsville is simply to get out of town. And this is what Burtonsville looks like. It's really quite nice, you know. Not that many stabbings around here. We're also going to be on the lookout for an Audi Q5 in white because it hit a lady in Laurel. So most likely he probably lives around here and he's trying to get away from this quid identifying him. But I got my radar set on him. He's probably switched it to a real tag. He had a paper tag when he hit that lady. So this big lady got hit, and I think it was his girlfriend or something. They were having an argument inside the car, so he decided it was a great idea to run her over after the argument. And no one's heard from her or him ever since. So we will be looking out for Audi Q5s in white with some damage to the driver's side front quarter panel. I'm gonna make a right on New Hampshire. Tenere has got, I guess, excuse me, super Tenere. People get upset when you just call it Tenere. Honestly, I think it's a little weird to call something super, especially when I don't feel super. I don't want to tell like average people that I ride a super Tenere. That seems so arrogant. You know, it's kind of like saying you ride a super bike. You just say it, you ride a motorcycle or it's a sports bike. On a scooter, I don't mind going through these little residential zones, but on a motorcycle, I always feel like I'm going to get in trouble. With the COVID, you have to be a little bit more cautious because people will walk on the road a lot. It feels like it's going slow, but you look down and you're going like 50 something, 60, and of course the speed limit is like 30. There's a KTM of some kind in front of me with saddlebags. I've never seen that. I kind of wonder, oh, he's like speeding up. Oh shit. Oh, I thought he wanted to like, I think he just wants to hit this this road up here. Look at that. He's going pretty fast. Oh, that's funny. He was like waiting for like that bend in the road. And we're gonna say goodbye to our fellow motorcyclist there. Look at him speeding. It's so funny. He's got tells. You know, like how poker guys have tells? That motorcycle's got a tell. A lot of times too with cyclists, you see that they have a tell when they're like trying to speed. This is where I usually do like a little bit. Whoa! That was actually kind of a jump, and I saw my traction control light go up. I have to be careful. This bike is not meant for jumping. I'm wearing my new boots here, and you know, they're pretty darn good. They feel good. They feel a little bit hot. And I'm wearing my motorcycle pants that are falling apart because motorcycle pants seem to fall apart. I have no idea, but I can't ever find jeans that are decent. You see these? They're just falling apart. See, downshifting this bike, it gives you pretty decent engine braking, so you can slow down for quarters. I definitely need to practice my cornering on this thing, but unfortunately I haven't been to any like super twisty areas. I've just been to the regular stuff, so I do love twisting the wrist on this. This is why, like, I don't want to sell this bike, and I might just I have to keep it for a while because, man, this is like a great sounding inline 2 bike. It is really great sounding, but so much power, so much torque, it spoils you. And then I get on my scooter and I'm like, oh, why isn't this thing moving? And I think a Ninja 250 is the same thing. The speed sensation is just right there, but this one, it's gone. The wind is kind of stripped away. You're not getting bombarded by the wind. You're not tucked in. You're kind of relaxed, sitting upright. So it kind of disarms you into thinking that you're going slower, and then you look down, you're going 60 miles an hour on a 35. So this is the type of bike that you have to have a lot of self-control. More self-control than you would for a regular sport bike. Because for a sport bike, you know that you're going fast. You know, they lean in a lot more. You can hear that engine like really like pounding. But on this bike, it's just like, it's subtle. Like the power is subtle. Like it doesn't feel like it's moving. It's very deceiving. This bike is a manipulator. Yeah, this bike is definitely like a big manipulator. Like it doesn't feel like it's fast, but goddamn, it is a beast. In whatever gear you're in, like it just flies. You live with a bike, I think you understand a little bit more. I think the tenere is a good bike to live with if you just have one bike. But I don't know, with the 700s coming out, it feels like this is not a bike that has an appeal for the dual sport crowd. I think this is definitely the sport touring, you know. Yamaha should just replace the FJR with this thing. It feels like a more substantial bike than the FJR. You know, I had an FJR for a short amount of time, 2005, and I honestly feel that this is a much better bike than the FJR. I think perhaps I'm riding the Kimco that has like a lot of bad clearance, and this bike has got really good clearance, so it feels like you can ride this thing so much faster. But the Kimco, it's got insanely bad clearance. I mean, hitting exhausts and exhaust pipes and like center stands and the motor, just, and not even like going fast. Like this corner right here, Jesus, oh, my traction control went on. These kind of sweeping corners here, but it's not that. It's this one. See, it's just like a high-speed sweeper, and I think that's probably the only reason. You know, the bar is set much lower for Maryland sport bike riders. They don't have like really great corners. Oh, this one's a pretty decent corner. I forgot about this one. The handlebars on this thing are just so wide. Oh, look at that RAV4. Huh. And now this is old Frederick. Old Frederick. See, it goes a little bit wide. I'm not used to that. Maybe it's the tires. But this is a really pretty road here. I'm going like 70 miles an hour. Jesus. This is why this bike is a terrible idea for me. It's like you constantly have to fight the stress of going slow here, or going fast, I would say. This is a nice little corner. I think I just have to bring my body more over. This is a good road too on the winter. They usually clean it really easily. But see all the farmland? I mean, we're not close, we're not far from Baltimore, and yet we have this amount of farmland in this area. The corn is just insanely high, the wheat, the beans. Whoa. See, this thing goes into corn. I was like not expecting that thing to come so fast. But it's funny, right over there behind this house, they have so much like farmland. But behind that chunk of land is Route 70. This is a good road too to motorcycle and bicycle. I should say bicycle. Ellicott City is beautiful. The whole town is really pretty. but there's so many good roads north of it. Cigarette lighter thing, because of the vibration, was coming out, so I wasn't charging my phone. Now we're gonna go over Route 70. Route 70 is right here. Boom. The water out during mass floods. I didn't really check when it rained here to see what the damage was, but since I didn't hear anything from in the news, I assume that they did a good job with the new modifications that they did do. Casa. I went to a restaurant here one time and they didn't let me bring my dog, so I just left. You know, if you're gonna be like a hipster town, you better accommodate dogs. But it's very empty compared to in normal time here, because normally in good weather this area is completely packed. But this is the little old town of Ellicott City. It's really pretty, and maybe we can with the DC scooter gang, we can probably have like a coffee here. There's a lot of motorcycles that come here, but I think now a lot of people are getting into fitness and getting more and more into cycling through here. I'm actually going to come here tomorrow and bicycle the area, and it's an awesome looking area. So we can go up this way to the right. Whoa, I just hit my my ABS worked really well here. See, I wasn't expecting that. That's a very dangerous it's so weird. I felt my ABS. Like, I don't have bikes with ABS often, but that worked well. This bike is a little bit too powerful for this. It feels like a little bit of a struggle keeping it from speeding like crazy, but this is why this area is quite interesting. Look at this. There's a castle house over here. I keep looking at it and it's just amazing. I love it when people do quirky little things with their houses. Now Ellicott City is that you can do loops around the main town, and this is just one of the loops. But with the scooter gang, I think we're going to do some bigger loops. There's also some very good hiking trails and mountain biking trails. There's even a waterfall inside of here in one of the hiking trails that's very popular. But you got to be in very good shape to ride a bicycle here. I mean, this is a 12% grade. And if you don't have good cycling legs, you're not going to make it. There's also like a railroad track. I don't think it's being used anymore. Park on this side, and then they just kind of take photos here on this train tracks. It's really nice here, and there's all of these really interesting roads that go up and down. There used to be like a warehouse here, so that's a decent road to go up and cycle up. Guys, that is Ellicott City in a nutshell. What's some other videos that I just did it on one on the Kimco. I brought it here. The Kimco doesn't handle as good as this one, so just going around a corner on that bike is a lot difficult. But it's still a fun bike. I'm actually looking forward to bringing the SH over here, because that seems like a better bike for this type of area. But I don't know, maybe I'll ride the Kimco. The Kimco is quite a fun bike to ride, just because it gives you a little bit more power. Lots of cyclists in this area. It's awesome. I like that people are getting healthy these days. Guys, so as you can see, you can do some really nice loops of Ellicott City. You can spend a lot of time just riding the routes around here. I didn't show you a lot of the routes because I'm a little bit pressed for time. I'm about to go and do a birthday parade ride in Berwyn Heights, so I'm gonna head over there. But this is the other side of Ellicott City, and Oella Mills is a really great road to check out too. Lots of history there. And here we go, we're approaching the main, I guess the second entrance of the Ellicott City. Oh, that's pretty. I like it, reminds me of Europe. It's one of these little towns that has a very European flavor. And now with restaurants opening and putting things outside, these restaurants are definitely not, they don't have a sidewalk big enough to put on the outside. But look how cool this little town is. Actually, there's been towns in deep into like West Virginia that I've seen that are really beautiful. Even like Tazewell has got some really good character. Like roads around Route 16 are really cool, but they don't get the tourism that this gets. But this place is just so close to DC. I can't imagine people not wanting to come here and relaxing. But you know, this place is as expensive as DC. It's not like you're paying Baltimore prices here.